Haha. Okay. Am I in live? I think I'm live. Great. Good evening, everyone. Sorry. All right. All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. My lighting, is that okay? All right. Good evening, everyone. If you're with me, let me know you're with me. Good evening. My name is Maribeth Chima. I am the Sorry, let me adjust my seat a little. All right, my name is Maribel Chima. I am the convener of the Parenting Through Mentorship Academy. You can find us on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. How are you doing today? All right, so I am streaming live from the capital city of Abuja, Nigeria, the capital city of Nigeria in Abuja. Yep, if you are with me, let me know when you join me and let me know where you're joining from. Great. Great. Let me know where you're joining from and let me know you just joined me. All right, so I'm super excited to be here today as usual. And today we said we're looking at how we can nurture or how ways that we can employ as parents, right, to nurture children who are confident. All right, Chinelo, hi, how have you been? It's been a while. All right, so we're looking at how we can nurture confident children. Please, if you come on board, just let me know you were here and say hi and let us know where you're watching from, right? So let's get right into it. How can we nurture children who are confident? Yes. Now, let's start from the very beginning. I always like to start from the very beginning, right? Yes. So, from the very beginning, children come with a full dose of confidence. When a child is born, that child is loaded, as in the child is loaded in the department of confidence. The child comes fully loaded with confidence. That is the reason the child makes demands of you without fear. That's why when the child is hungry, the child will cry out loud because the child is not afraid, right? The child is very confident, right, the child is very confident that you would make provision for whatever his needs are. So the child is not afraid, right, to seek of you, or is not afraid to ask of you. Right. So our children come loaded with confidence. Now, whether they continue with that level of confidence or if they lose it is dependent on the primary caregiver, which in many cases happens to be the parent. All right. So God has gifted you a child, and the child is extremely confident at the point the child is born. So, because the child is confident and the child knows their worth, because the child knows her worth or his worth, he's very confident about who he is and is very confident, has a loaded self esteem. The child is able to make demands of you and is confident that he will get the attention that is needed. Now, with time, this same child begins to lose confidence. This same child begins to get timid. This same child is unsure of himself. This same child becomes a person with a low self-esteem. Now, you want to ask yourself as a parent, where did I go wrong, or what happened to the child, or why is it, all of a sudden, why is this child not so confident anymore? You want to ask yourself that question. Okay, now for today, because we know this is possible, right? Because we know it is possible for children to be without confidence, and because, right, if you are thinking like I am thinking, you would know by now that it is not very easy. Not very easy. Hi, Oge. It's good to have you here. Hello, Ijoma. Thank you for joining me. All right. It's it's by now we should know that it is not as easy as it may sound. It is really not easy to raise a confident child, not easy at all, right? So we want to look at what we can do as parents, how we can position ourselves, right, to empower our children so that we can nurture children who are confident. Because if you can gather anything from what I am saying, the fact that your child is not confident, or the fact that your child is gradually dwindling or gradually gravitating towards a place of low self-esteem or a lack of confidence, is dependent on you. So it's to a great extent, you are responsible for the level of confidence that your child has. So if this is the case, if it is us, their primary caregivers, their parents in most cases, right? In most cases, primary caregivers are parents, isn't it? Right. So if it is we who are responsible for this in the lives of our children, then it is right that we begin to think of what we can do, how we can position ourselves to ensure that we can we can nurture children who are confident in their ability, who are confident in themselves, who have self-confidence. And that's what this class is about. Now, the first thing you want to do, the first thing research has shown over and over, when you study, people who have done studies, in this area, what they have come to realize is, for a child to be confident, for you to nurture a confident child, first of all, you need to create boundaries. Children want you. No matter what, no matter how you see it, or no matter how it appears, children want us to create boundaries for them. Children want us to create boundaries for them. They need us to create the structure where they would grow in. So a structure needs to be created, and that structure will be created by us as parents for our children to grow and thrive in our homes. We must have structures on ground. When you don't have a structure on ground, what you're doing to your child is you are confusing the child. When there is no structure on ground, there is no consistency. So the child is not sure of what is acceptable. The child is not sure of how to behave. The child is not sure of what is right. So today it is this, tomorrow it is that. Today the child does this and it is okay. Tomorrow the child does that and it is not okay. In that case, the child becomes confused, and then gradually any voice can minister to that child. Anybody at all, any voice at all can minister to that child, because your voice has not become a leading voice in the head of your child. You have not created the right kind of boundaries in your home that will allow your child to thrive. So yes, it may seem like our children don't like it. It may seem like our children don't want to conform to the rules or the boundaries that we have in our homes. But children want boundaries. And it is only until you create those boundaries that our children will gradually slip into it and it becomes a lifestyle. If you are not creating boundaries in your home, you are confusing your children. Okay? Now, a lot of times when things go wrong in families, or when we see, on social media, we see the kinds of things that are happening all around us. You will hear people argue and say things like, it's possible that the parents have done everything that they need to do, but the society, their friends and all of that are the ones influencing them. Yes, that could be the case, but that is only because we are not consistent as parents and we don't start early, right? We don't put these boundaries in place in our homes, and we don't start early we don't start early to nurture with these boundaries. We don't start early to create policies in our homes that our children grow to know, our children grow to live by, our children get to practice back to back, and then it becomes second nature. What we do a lot of times in our homes is, when things happen, we gather and then we scold our children, we scream about it, and then we tell them how this is not acceptable in this home. No, our children need to know these things beforehand. They need to know what is acceptable in our homes. They need to know what they can I mean, they need to know what they would do wrong or what they would do right and the consequences for those things. When children know what they should do and the consequence for doing or not doing those things, they learn to live by it and they learn to recognize these consequences. So, yes, boundaries need to be in place in our homes if we want our children to become confident. Because what happens with the boundary is, we place these boundaries, we put these boundaries in place, and our children gradually begin to learn to be responsible. Let me give you an example of what I mean when I talk about boundaries. Okay, so let's say you have routines in your home. Okay, you have routines in your home, and the routine, I want to give an instance. So the routine in your home is that the children wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning. When you wake up, you make your bed. When you make your bed, you go have your bath, right? And then you come out for devotion and all that. So by the time you have this, the child at the point where the child is 2, the child can see the older ones or see mommy and daddy with these routines, right? And then the child grows right into these routines. So by the time the child is 4 and 5, okay, the child already has lived, in that home with these routines going on and on. By the time the child is 5, 6 and can wake up on his own, you will find that it's like a time clock. The child will wake up at about that time. The child will join other people in doing, those small, join or at least watch the people who are old enough, right, to adhere to this routine. The child will see them do it consistently. You find that by the time the child comes of age, the child will easily just slip into this routine because the routine has been there in the home and the routine has been consistent. So the child, just naturally slips into those routines, right? Now we have schedules. We have routines, right? It's schedules that gradually become our routines. Like, so the schedule is there, the routines are there. The children know that, in our home, we don't watch TV from Monday to Friday because it's school days. So during school days, we come home, we rest, and after resting, we do our homework. After doing the homework, we probably go out for outdoor play. So your children know this. With time, the children will not even ask for TV. In my home, that's what applies. In my home, we don't watch TV. The kids don't watch TV during the week. Now, my 5-year-old grew up, she grew up, before she went to school, she was at home, right? I was working at the time. So she would be at home with my mom or with whoever's taking care of her, with my mom most of the time. She's at home and grandma is probably watching TV and all of that, she was very little, how we take those things for granted, right? So, but with time, as she grew older, she went to school. Right? She went to school at the time, and when she came back from school, she didn't come straight to go on, to watching TV because, hey, her brother doesn't come back and watch TV. So gradually, that took root even in her. So right now, my daughter is 5 and TV does not come up. The only time you'll probably hear her ask, okay, we're homeschooling right now, so we don't even go to school anymore for her, right? You only hear her ask probably on a Thursday, oh, mommy, what's today? And I'm like, oh, Thursday. And she's like, oh, that means tomorrow is Friday. And I'm going to have some TV time tomorrow. So that's the closest that's the closest she comes to asking for television. And why is that, or for screen time? And that's because it is part of our role. It is part of the routine or the routine that we have created in our home, right? She has a schedule for watching TV. And that's like from after school, after structured learning on Friday at about 1, that's when she watches TV, and then she takes a break from TV at about 2, and then she doesn't come back to TV again till after outdoor play and all of that. And it has taken root. So you need to create such kind of boundaries. When the children go through these routines, these schedules, and all of that boundaries you have in your home, you could have a family policy, okay? You can have a family policy. I was talking to my sister today, and I told her, right, have a policy on ground. She was complaining about a few things, and I said to her, something, the easiest way to deal with things like this is have your policy on ground. When you have your policy on ground, everyone who walks into your home just walks in and there is something already that is binding. So naturally, they just conform to what it is that is binding. So if you have in your home, you have a policy that we don't watch certain programs, right, when the children are at home, or we have a policy, TV doesn't come on, right, when whatever you want to put in your policy. For instance, I don't stop other people from watching TV when they're in my home, right? But provided my children are out, you can watch TV all you want. But as soon as the children walk through the door, you have to watch TV either in the bedroom, right, in your room as a guest, or the TV can only be on CNN, Nat Geo Wild, or Discovery Channel. And off. So the moment you come into the house, we welcome you and all of that. Jokingly, we will talk about it, right? Jokingly, we'll just talk about, oh, sorry, we have the kids at home and we're very conscious like that. So because of that, we don't want. They know when they come in, and that's it. It's not a problem. People don't feel like, okay, you're trying to be mean or you're trying to be this. It's just a standing rule and it is there. Okay, so these are the kind of boundaries. You could have boundaries in your home about going out and when the children return home, right? Now, these boundaries, this rule will probably be there right from when the kids are young. Okay, so you have it, at 5 you can go play. Like for right now, my kids go outdoor to play from 4 to 6 p.m. every day, except they choose not to go. Right? So they go out to play from 4 to 6. So that's it. At 6, you must be back home. As they grow older and they become 12, probably, by the time my son becomes 12, okay, I'll probably tweak it. By the time you're 15, there'll probably be a tweak on it, right? Probably by the end of this year, we'll probably create something around that. So before the children even get to that stage of their life, you already have something on ground. So you're talking about it in your conversations. When things come up, you see, when there are other experiences, other experiences with their cousins, with their friends on TV or whatever comes up, they're watching the program and there's something about what do you call it? Curfew and all of that. Oh, you can say that. Oh, yes, we're going to talk about that in a few months, right? We'll put a time to read. Okay, at 12 you can come back at 6. Oh, when you become 16, oh, you have to be home by 7. You start talking about these things early. You start talking about it. So by the time the children get to that stage, it is not an issue. There are boundaries already on ground. So it is the same rules and the same boundaries that you have around almost everything. Okay, you create the same rules, you create the same kinds of boundaries around a lot of things. Create it around relationships. Okay, create it around relationships. Create it around every aspect of your life, so that you have you have policies standing, you have boundaries standing. Just so you avoid all that tussle and all that problem that comes up when your children come of age and you're trying to impose something on them all of a sudden because you are afraid. Let it be done from a place of reasoning. We reasoned it out. We talked about it. Okay, we agreed. So at 12, you're sitting down and talking to your 12-year-old and you're like, okay, you're a preteen now. Now let's set some rules for the next 2 phases of your life as a preteen and as a teenager. So let's sit down and say, then you think about it, you talk about it, and then you set all of this in place and you start having conversations about these things, even right from when they are 12. Laughingly, jokingly, you're having this conversation. You'll find that by the time you get to that stage, there's nothing like that. I've given this example before. We don't go in my home, you don't come to table with your phone. Okay, when we are having a meal as a family, the phone, in fact, when we're having family time, whether it's a meal or we're reading together or we're having any of our family traditions, you don't come around with your phone. Now, I embody that. So I won't come with it. My husband won't even bother to touch his phone. His phone is that secondary to him. Okay, so I am the one who's always busy, right, with my phone and all that. So I have to make a conscious effort not to bring my phone, for family gatherings and all of that. And why am I doing this? I'm doing this so my children are seeing and my children are practicing. The oldest is 11, right? She's seeing and he's practicing and all of that. Now, what I am saying in retrospect, or what I'm saying in retrospect, or what I am telling my child, right, consciously or unconsciously, is When you come of age, you will own a phone at some point, and phones are not acceptable at table, right? Over the years, he's seen me not come to the table. I mean, it's not just that I will not come with it. I will even say, oh, there are times I will even come, like mistakenly. I come, maybe taking a call and I get to table, okay, and they're about to pray. My daughter will actually say to me, Mommy, your phone. She will actually say to me, oh, Mommy, your phone. And even if I drop the phone on the table, she takes it and then she goes to drop it for me, probably, I mean, in the room or somewhere. Because, these are rules that we have set, and the children can even hold us accountable by them. So when you set these rules, when you set these boundaries, you find out that your children will adhere to it, and they will do it over and over again. So much so that when they are much older, they can actually say boldly to anybody, confidently, right? This is unacceptable. Oh, no, I don't do this. Okay, I don't do this. Where I'm coming from, we don't do this. And nobody can make them feel bad about it. Do you understand? Nobody can make them feel bad about it. You know how they become teenagers, and your child is probably trying to do something, and his friends begin to laugh at him because of it. And because of that, the child stops that practice or begins to hide when he's doing that practice. Because no, build your child's morale, right? Build your child. Let them do these things consistently. Give them the reason why they have to do these things. Okay? Reason with the children. Reason with them. Create those boundaries. Tell them why they have to. I'm wondering why I'm hot and why the AC just went off on its own. Sorry. Okay, so teach that. Reason with your children, reason with them. Let them know why we do the things we do. It is our responsibility as parents to teach our children, to nurture our children, and to care for our children. Okay, when we teach, when we nurture and we care for our children, and then it's our responsibility to demand respect from our children. Okay, so when we care for them, we nurture them, right? When we care for them, we nurture them, and we do all of these things. We find that naturally our children will respect us. When we come across to our children not as dictators, we come across to our children as people who want to reason with them. Our children are human beings. When you reason with them, they will reason with you. And before you know it, it will translate. You will connect, and it will translate to respect. So yes, it is your responsibility as a parent to care for your children, to nurture them, and to guide them. And it is okay that you demand that your children show some respect, okay, and then show some adherence to the rules and then the boundaries that you have created. If you're able to do that, then you will develop, or you will build children who are confident. Right? When I went to the university, right? When I went to the university, I had a friend, right? So I've told this story before. I don't know, maybe yes, I think I have. And then we got to a point, started feeling like big girls, and then we started piercing our ears like the second hole and all of that. I had one of my friends, and she said to us, oh no, she couldn't. And we're like, we're all doing it, like, why won't you? And she's like, oh, no, I agreed. We agreed with my mom that I won't. That's what we're talking about, right? That's what we're talking about. I went to school. There were no boundaries. Nobody told me, don't pierce your ears, don't do this. There's certain things. When I was going to school, most of what I heard was, okay, remember the child of whom you are. Whether we are there or we're not there, okay, don't turn ears, basic things like don't go for part. I didn't hear anything like that. So basically what I'm trying to say is, when we create boundaries, right? When we create boundaries, children need boundaries. Children want boundaries. The child is wired to grow within boundaries. So parents, we need to create that boundary. We need to create those boundaries if we want to bring up children who are confident, children who can look at anybody at any point and say to them, yes, this is what I believe. These are my values. This is what is acceptable where I'm coming from, and for that reason I'm not shifting. Okay, so that's number one. All right, that's number one. The next thing you want to do is you want to affirm your children. Oh my goodness, this one cannot be overemphasized. You want to affirm your children. Your children need to hear from you over and over again how amazing they are, how blessed how blessed you feel to have them as your children, how blessed you are to have them as your children. They need to know these things, they need to hear them from you. Your children need to know that you see them. What you see in them is who they are, and there is nothing else. So you love them the way they are, no matter how they are, whether they are winning or they are losing, right? Whether they are winning or they are losing, whether they are beautiful or every child is beautiful. So you want your child to feel that way, no matter the circumstance, no matter what it is. Your love for your child is meant to be unconditional, and your children need to know that your love for them is unconditional. It has nothing to do with how well they're doing. It has nothing to do with if they make mistakes. Your children need to be securely attached to you. Know that you will not judge them. Okay, you will not judge them. It was Brian Tracy that said that the way that you talk to your children is a singular greatest factor in shaping their personality and their self-confidence. The way you talk to your child is what would shape your child's personality and what will shape the confidence level of your child. Right? Because confidence is actually built from self-esteem. Okay, and the child's self-esteem is how the child loves and sees himself. So this is how it works. When children are born, right? When children are born, they don't have a sense of self. They don't have a sense of self. They're not aware of themselves. Like your child is not born thinking, I am so cool, I'm amazing, and all of that. No, the child does not have a sense of self. How the child begins to perceive himself, okay? How the child begins to perceive himself is how you make the child see himself. So if you're a parent that is constantly complaining about how the child, if you're a parent that is constantly yelling and telling your child how the child never does anything well, that's how the child will begin to see himself. If you're a parent that is constantly comparing your child to other people, that's how the child is going to see himself, like he is not good enough. This other person, this ABC person out there is better than me. So if you are a parent that is constantly labeling your child, constantly complaining about your child, constantly judging your child, this is the confidence level that you are going to leave the child. This is the level of self-esteem that you're going to leave the child with. And if the child's self-esteem is low, that child is not going to be a confident child. So very important, very critical how we talk to our children and the things that we say to our children. Children need to know that they are amazing. Children need to know that we feel they are awesome. They need to know that we think that they are beautiful inside. We need to know that they need to know that they are wonderfully and beautifully created. They need to know what God says about them. They need to know that you are in agreement with God as per who they are. So when you want to praise your children, you want to be careful, right, not to label them. So you don't want to say to your child, you're a good girl. Mommy loves you because you're a good girl. That's where you are labeling the child. You're trying to say to the child, the only reason I love you is because you're a good girl. You don't want to say to your child after the child has done an exam or done something and the child has done well. You don't want to say to your child, whoa, you're so brilliant and that's why I love you. No, you don't want to say that to your child. You want to let your child know that whatever it is, I love you because you are. You are special. I love you because you are beautifully created by God. I love you no matter what. You need to constantly be in a place where you do not judge your children. So when you correct your children positively. Correct them positively. Say to your child, hey, sweetie, I love the effort that you put into what you did. Yes, you didn't come tops this time, but I like the fact that you try. So I am here and I'm going to support you, okay? Next time, let me know if you have any challenges and I'll be here to support you so that you can even get better, okay? Because you deserve, I know that it is within you to do better than you did this time, and all you need to do is push yourself a little more. So when I see cases of children who do something, a child probably didn't do well in an exam, and then the parent seizes everything, and then they begin to, as in there's the constant comparing them, constant, you deprive them of everything, and then you make them miserable at that time simply because they didn't do well. It is actually it's wrong. Yes, it's wrong, right? I don't want to teach you. I don't want to completely say to you, okay, this is how to train you. But basically, it is not a good thing to do to your child, and it is not a good way to come across to your child when the child is struggling, right? So children need to see that at all times their success is our priority, and they need to see us as people who are ready to help them come through. We're ready to come through for them and ready to help them surmount those challenges. So if your child does badly at school or badly with anything at all, and you spend all the time judging the child, complaining, sorry. You spend all the time judging the child, complaining about the child, and then punishing the child, taking away privileges from the child for that singular reason. What you're saying to the child is, you are not good enough because you didn't do well. You don't deserve anything because you didn't do well. Okay, you are labeling that child, you are judging that child, and you are removing yourself from the situation. You are removing yourself from the situation. But when you say something like, okay, sweetie, I need to know, what are your challenges? How can I help you? Okay, I need you to know that I am here to help you. And I know that you must have made some effort, but you need to go back and look at what it is that you didn't do right. You need to go back and look at what it is that you didn't pay attention to. At this point, you're not being permissive, are you? No, you are not being permissive. What you're trying to say to the child is, I know that there is greatness within you. All I want to do is I want to help you discover that greatness, and I want to help you pull that greatness out so that you can be as great as you're supposed to be, or you can be as great as you have the potential to be. You can be as great as God has created you to be. So that is it. So what you say to your child and how you say it to your child is very, very, very important. So I said, number one, very important that we create boundaries. We create boundaries in our home. We create structures in our home where our children can grow and thrive in. Now, when I talk about structures, I have been talking, the whole of the end of last year, I kept on talking about structure, because I know how important it is to create structures in your home. So I kept on talking about structures, and I'm still talking about creating structures in your home. No matter how intelligent your children are, no matter how intelligent, or no matter how obedient your children are, if you don't have structures in place, the child will get confused, and the child will likely miss it if you don't have structures in place. Please, very important. Because we know how important this is, that is why I created the mentor parent structure. We have the templates, right? We have the templates in the academy. It's to help you create structure in your home. Those templates, they are over, I can't even remember the number of templates, but there are a lot of templates just to help you create structures in your home. We still have those templates, and please, if you want those templates, just write in the comments, I want the template. What the template will help you do is will help you create routines. It will help you create routines in your home. You create routines, you create schedules, you create policies, right? You create your values, you create all these things that your children need to know, and then you can now put them in place and begin to use them in your home, just so that you can create structures and you can create boundaries in your home. Very, very key. Please, if you want our templates, okay, the structure pack, just put it in the comments that you want the template. It is very cheap, just 1,500, and you can have it and print it as you need it. Okay. Right, and then we talked about the second one. We said the second one is how you talk to your children, how you affirm your children, how you talk to your children, how you make your children feel. Do your children feel great? Do your children know that they are enough? it is your responsibility as a parent to do that. When you do that, and you do that constantly, okay, and it takes root in the head of your child, no matter what anybody else tells your child about himself, the child will not budge, because the child knows who he is. Because constantly, consistently, in the last 10, 12, 8, 20 years of their lives, you have told them who they are. You have pointed them to what God says they are. You have been consistent. You have not judged them. You have corrected them positively. You have helped them succeed. You have lifted them up every time. You have been there to support them to rise up every time that they fail. Okay, because of this, the child knows who he is. So when one random stranger comes and tries to tell them you're not beautiful, you're not this, the child will just laugh like Bangladesh, because the child knows who he or she is, because you have told them and you have made them understand who they are over the years. Okay, the next thing you want to do, you want to empower your children. You want to empower your children to make their own decision. When you empower children to make their own decisions, you can be sure that you're on your way to nurturing, or you're on the way to seeing a confident child. When your children begin to make decisions on their own, because you trust them enough to allow them make these decisions, you trust them enough to give them the chance to make decisions, what happens is, as they make decisions, they become confident in making decisions, right? They become confident in the results, in the outcomes of their decisions. Okay, and because they make decisions over and over again, you find out that they are not afraid to make them. That is the reason, that is the reason people who are CEOs of businesses, that is the reason you see them and they look like confident people, because they didn't just jump and became CEOs. They must have gone through some level of experience, right? They would have gone through experiences. They would have gone through, one phase after the other. They would have done this business for years and all of that, or they would have trained on the business, right? And then with time, they become so confident. When they make decisions aware of the risk of the decision they are about to make, and they go ahead and they make decisions confidently, because they've practiced making decisions over and over again. And now that is what you want to give your children the opportunity to do. Allow them start making small decisions, okay? Allow them start making small decisions in your home, okay? Age appropriate decisions. Allow them make choices, give them options. As they grow older, allow them make bigger decisions, right? And when they fail, that's another problem, and that's another thing that we do. When our children fail, we're so scared, first of all, to allow them make decisions, because we don't want them to fail in the first place. So we are so scared to allow them make those decisions. So what do we text them? We make all these decisions. We make decisions about school. When it's time for them to write in fact, it even begins from homework. Our children bring homework home. Instead of you allowing the child to do the homework, because in the first place, the teacher should only give children homework that the children can attempt by themselves. Right. So if your child's teacher is not giving your child homework that your child can attend on his own, or I need to turn the AC. It went off on its own. I wish I could tell why. Okay. So if I wish I could call someone to even check it for me. All right then. So if your child's teacher is giving him homework that your child cannot do on his or her own, then you need to send it back home and to school, and you need to complain about it. Children should be given homework that they can deal with on their own. So no, it's not our responsibility as parents to do homework for our children. It's our responsibility to be close enough or be present enough for them to bring whatever challenges that they are having to us and ask us questions about it. And then we can point them to, and then we can help them, right? We can help bring them back to reasoning, right? So that they can find out the answers or the solutions to their homework on their own. So it starts from little things like homework. When we think it's our responsibility to help our children do their homework right, just so that they do not fail. So we are so concerned about grades. We are so invested on grades that we will go ahead and help our children. We will stay with them, we will do homework with them, and then when they do it wrong, we stay there and we're shouting, will you look at that thing again? Is that the correct answer? Will you look at, you don't need to do that. You do not need to do that. All you need to do is, hi Ahmed, it's good to have you here. Hi, Afor Mofe. It's good to have you here. All right. So the child comes back home with homework from school. The homework must be something that the child can do on his own. And if for some reason the child is not getting it right, you just need to point them. You want to look at that again. Are you sure? Are you sure about how you're going about that problem? Right? If the child is not asking you any question, then let the child be. Let the child grow and let him be confident in his own ability. But if the child is saying to you, oh, sorry, mommy, I'm a bit confused here, or daddy, I'm a bit confused here, I'm not sure, and all of that, then you stay there and guide the child and point the child towards probably what the child is missing, or what it is that the child is not looking at carefully. You want to do something like, hey, you go back and look at the second step. Are you sure you did all you're supposed to do in that step? So the child looks at it again. Allow the child to self-discover. Let the child self-discover. Let the child find out, oh, I made a mistake here, and self-correct. Okay, it is not your responsibility to make sure that your children do every sum and every problem that they've come back home with and make sure that they pass it. I have not looked at my son's homework. I've not looked at his book for the last 2-3 years since he got to grade 3. As in, I don't even say to him, go and do your homework anymore. If you do your homework, fine. If you don't do your homework, all I'm going to do is, hello, have you got homework today? And then he goes, yes. I can't see you doing it. And it's like, oh, I've done it already. Oh, no, I'm planning to do it it's not time for homework yet, my schedule, because he does his schedule on his own and I can't cram that schedule. He does it and then he shows it to me. I look at it and I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then he goes with it and that's about it. It's not like I have it at the back of my mind every time and I know when he's supposed to be doing everything per se. So sometimes I'm not even sure when he's supposed to be doing. And then he will say to me, oh, no, I'm doing my homework this month at 6 o'clock or at 5:30 or something. So it's not just time for it. And that's about it. So it's not your responsibility to make sure that your children get all their sums and everything correctly. No. Children should do that. That is how they build confidence. That is how they develop a sense of self. Okay? That's how they develop, the confidence in themselves, right? Exactly. So basically, let them do their homework on their own and all of that. And if there's a problem, send it back to school. If the child cannot do his homework, then he has not learned. If he cannot do his homework on his own, it means that the teacher has not taught him enough for him to understand. So he needs to take it back to the teacher so that the teacher can teach him or explain it. Or if you want to explain it to the child because the child is having problems and the child identifies that, something, my teacher taught me this, but I can't remember something, or I wasn't clear. Would you be able to do that with me? And that's a different thing altogether. Explain it to the child and then allow the child to attempt it. This is how confidence is built. Okay, so empower your children, empower them that way. Okay, empower them, let them learn to do things on their own. Okay, let your children learn to do things on their own, and then it begins right from when they are young. So my daughter is 5 years old, and this is what I do with her. I give her a bath at night. Okay, I give her a bath at night. I scrub her, well, and all of that at night. I allow her give herself a bath in the morning under my supervision because, hey, she just had a bath. She had a good bath at night. So in the morning, there isn't like such a big deal. Okay, so she goes to the bathroom and I hand her sponge. I let her grab her sponge and then soaps it and sponges herself, and she does all that by herself. What am I doing? I'm trying to allow the child gain stamina. I'm trying to allow the child be confident in her own ability. Okay, I'm trying to allow the child, and then you will hear her say to her friends sometimes, I can give myself a bath, like confidently, when I have like a niece or somebody comes around and it's time for her to have a bath and the person wants to give her a bath, you will hear her say boldly, don't worry, I got this. I can give myself a bath. That is confidence. And that's it's coming from the fact that she's done it over and over again, and she is confident in her ability to do that thing. And this is how you help children build confidence. Okay? And you apply it the same way in every area. Apply it the same way. Okay, so I give her a bath in the evening, I allow her to do it in the morning. The child does not know in her head that I'm allowing her to do it in the morning because I feel she will not do it well. No, that conversation doesn't come up at all, and she doesn't reason that way. So she just simply thinks, oh, mommy gives me a bath in the evening and I can do it. So see her, she knows that I trust her. That's what I'm trying to say to her. I'm trying to say to her, I trust you to do a good job at this. And because I trust her, she wants to do it and do it again and again. And what am I doing? I am building confidence. Confidence. Okay? It's the same thing with her schoolwork, right? From when my daughter is about 3, 4. Okay, as soon as she went to school, okay, as soon as she started understanding what was going on in school, when it's time for homework, all the scribbling and coloring and, the simple additions and all of that, we sit together and then she starts and I'll be like, something, mommy needs to get something from inside. And I go off and I tell her, do number 2, I'm coming, do number 2 on your own. When I come, I'll look at it. And then she'll do number 2 and she's like, I'm done. I'm like, I like the fact that you didn't wait for mommy. You went ahead and you did the first one. You did the second one. You did the third one. You are so hardworking. I like the fact that what am I doing? I am telling the child that you are enough. Okay? I'm telling the child she's enough. I'm telling the child that I trust you. I'm telling the child that you're doing a good job. I'm telling the child that you are good at this. Basically, I'm boosting morale. Basically, I'm affirming the child, and this is what children need. I am speaking to the child in a positive way, and I am minding my language when I speak to the child. Positive. Okay, I'm positive when I speak to the child, and this is what children need to be confident. This is how children grow to be confident. Okay, now the other thing you want to do is you want to help them believe in themselves. So it's about the same thing. You want to help them believe in themselves, believe in their abilities, believe that when they put their heart to something, they can do it. So when they fail, you want to let them understand that it is okay. Failing is part of the process. Failing is part of life, but you must fix your mess. So that's how it is. So when you do something wrong, you break a bowl, whatever it is you do, you spill water, you break a bowl, you do whatever, they just simply come to me, of course, with a remorseful face, and they say, oh, mommy, I'm so sorry. I did this. No matter how precious that thing is, or no matter how upset I could be at that time, I have learned to breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out and turn and say to the child, it's okay, honey. Just go fix your mess. So they know for the record and my daughter had made a mess. She had made a mess on the floor. There was water all over the place. She was trying to wash her plate, right? She's going through the process. So she eats, she takes her plate, and then she goes to wash it. So she finished washing the plate and she was playing some more. Of course, so she spilled water all around. Immediately I walked into the toilet. Into the kitchen. She just turned to me and she said, I know, mommy, I'm sorry, I'll fix it. I know, mommy, I'm sorry, I'll fix it. And then she drags the big mop. And then she started struggling, trying to fix it. So that's it. That's all they need to know. You will make mistakes, rise up and go on. Okay, you will make mistakes. All you need to do is rise up and go on. You will fail sometimes. All you need to do is jump up and then get back to it. So this is how you help children build confidence. Okay, knowing that failure will come sometimes, knowing that they will fail sometimes, but all they need to do is try again. And for every time that they try, they become more confident in their ability to do that thing. For every time that they try, they become more confident in their ability to do that thing. And that is how we nurture children to become confident. Okay? Then the next one you want to look at is we need to quit. Okay? As parents, we need to quit having our children think that they are supposed to be good at everything. Let me ask you the question. Are you good at everything as a parent? are you good at everything? You are not good at everything. So we need to quit having our children think they need to be good at everything. It is okay that your child who loves the arts, it is okay that your child who loves the art, it is okay for you to let that child know if you notice that the child is struggling with math. First of all, if we're intentional from the very beginning, what we want to do is we want to support our children to excel in everything that they do. We want to put, I don't know what your family values are. Okay, one of my family values is excellence. So, as part of our family values, the children know that excellence, they need to do everything that they do from a place of excellence, meaning you need to put yourself, okay, you need to be committed to whatever you do, okay, and you need to bring everything. And when you do that, when you stay committed and you bring everything